Hey guys, what's up? It's Savannah. Welcome back to another episode of My Thoughts Exactly. Thank you guys so much for joining me here today. If you're new here, hi, my name's Savannah and I'm your host of My Thoughts Exactly. And before we get started, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We post weekly here on the podcast every single Friday. You're not going to want to miss it. And we also upload the video version onto YouTube on Fridays as well. So make sure you are subscribed. And you guys, today's episode is special. Today's episode, I am so excited about. I've been waiting for the day. All in the Instagram comments of my post on Sunday last week, or like a couple days ago, was like, I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for this. You guys know, I have been waiting for this. I am so excited to talk to you about this today. If you can't tell, if you haven't read the title, if you don't know what's going on, I'm engaged. I am engaged. It is the craziest thing to say out loud ever. I can't say the words without smiling. Here she is, by the way, if you're watching me on YouTube, let's go. There she is in all of her glory. Look how stunning. She sparkles, she shines. She's stunning. She's a moment. We love her. I'm engaged, you guys, and I just wanted to talk to you today. I couldn't not dedicate an episode to just running you guys through it, telling you the story, telling you what happened, how it happened, all of the things. You guys have been here with me, most of you, a lot of you, for years, and so many of you have watched me really go through it. This is what was so funny. When I posted and announced that I was engaged, I got so many comments of people saying that they have not only been here from the beginning and been here since the Drive With Me's and the playlist videos, but saying that they have watched me go through lots of heartbreak and lots of just different trials and tribulations and adversity when it comes to dating and when it comes to, relationships that I've been in the past and situationships and dating, all of it, all of it. And by the way, you guys, I haven't even told you half of it. And so just the stuff that you do know, just know it gets worse. But I did just want to, say thank you so much before we even get started into it, because seeing your comments and seeing how supportive you guys were, not that I expected anything less, but you guys absolutely blew my mind with the amount of love and support that you gave me in those comments. I spent all night reading every single one, and it melted my heart truly to be able to sit there and know that you guys care about me like that. Like, it's just a crazy thing, because yes, we get on here every week and we talk and we chit chat about, what would Sav do's and little things here and there. But to know that we actually still like we have such a connection. I just feel like we've created such a family and such a community here. And to know that we're all still so tight knit that sometimes I forget about it, because honestly, I stopped posting on Instagram a lot. So it was really, really, really sweet and just wholesome and heartwarming to see everyone come together. And you guys are commenting on each other's comments and, saying, oh, I've been here since the Drive With Me's. I've been here since the Heartbreak Pep Talks, the playlist videos, all of the things. It just made me smile so big. And I just want to thank you so much, because I truly can't imagine a life without you guys in it. And I just was so excited to tell you guys. And the second that it happened, I was like, I cannot wait for My Thoughts Exactly. I cannot wait for the podcast. So I want to just kind of run you guys through everything, because I don't think I feel like I've answered questions here and there about our timeline and, marriage and Hayden and I's relationship and all of the things. I feel like I really have, said a few things here and there, but for the most part, I've kept this entire relationship pretty private. You guys know Hayden, you know his name, you know that he's here, but you really don't know a lot more than that. And that has been intentional, but I feel like now maybe we can get him on the podcast. Maybe now Hayden can get an episode. Maybe you can get a Meet Hayden episode. He's never even been in a vlog, really. I just find it crazy. I just think about relationships that I've had in the past and the types of, how much I exposed them to, not exposed, but and they wanted to be there, by the way. Just how much was out there in terms of my relationship. I just feel like this entire, the way that I have handled this relationship has been very different. It's been very private. It has not been secret, but it has been private, and I've wanted it that way. And I honestly couldn't be happier. But now I'm in a space and in a spot where I do want you guys to know, and I want you to know him, because he's such a big part of me. And I think that that is something that we're going to do in the future. But You guys, when this all happened, again, like I said, I was like, we got to give me a mic. Like, I need to sit down. We need to do a podcast. So I'm going to start from the beginning. Okay. Once upon a time. So Hayden and I, just again, to give you a little bit of a timeline of our relationship, November is a big month for us because November is the month that we met. We met on November 6th of 2021. It was 2 months after I moved to Nashville. And when I met Hayden, I think I've told you guys this, but there was like a feeling. I will say Hayden and I did not have the most like honeymoon beginning of a relationship. And we joke about it now, but everyone's like, oh, the honeymoon phase, the first couple months are so great. No, Hayden and I did not have that. He would say the same thing. We definitely like had to work through some stuff, and we got through it, and we were able to really become stronger because of it. And I feel like every single year of our relationship, we get stronger and stronger as a couple together. And that's part of the reason I'm just so excited for the future. But I digress. I'm babbling. I'm sorry. This might be like a really just me rambling episode, but we're going to get to the engagement in a minute. I'm just giving you guys the preface. So we met November 6th, 2021. We were, talking for a couple months, and then we started like officially dating in like probably January. And again, pretty instantaneously, there was just something different about Hayden that I just couldn't put my finger on. I remember it was like one of the first few times that I had seen him. He was a bartender at this bar that I frequented. And I remember I brought my friends one night, and I just remember being there with my friends and watching him and being like, I said it out loud. I vocalized this, and my friends can attest to it. I said, I'm going to marry him. Like, I love him. I'm going to marry him. And part of me was like, it was that like hee hee ha ha, like, oh my God, I love this man. But I was literally like, that's my husband. Like, I'm going to marry him. And here we are 3 years later. But anyways, that's kind of like how things all started. I've talked to you guys about like the like at length story of how we've met, and you can go back and listen to that. I think it was like we filmed that in February or something. But we began dating, and my views on marriage for years, really, I never really saw myself getting married. And when I was in high school and fresh out of high school, I just never saw it. I never thought or never really could imagine marriage making sense for me until I met Hayden. Like, none of that made sense to me until I met Hayden. And I kept saying, like, when I was growing up before I met Hayden, I was like, I don't know if I want to get married. Like, I don't think I want to get married. And then, by the way, if you don't want to get married, that's totally fine. That's 100% your choice, and all the power to you for it. But I remember just being like, I can't imagine myself being married. I can't imagine getting married. And that was, again, when I met Hayden, my entire view of marriage changed. My entire view of love changed. Hayden has completely redefined what love is for me, and redefined, what a partner is and what a healthy relationship is, healthy communication. And it's not something that I ever imagined or thought that I could have. And I'm just really, really lucky and grateful that I do. And yeah, anyways, sorry, not to get sappy. As we move on, Hayden and I started talking about the future and like proposals and the idea of marriage, probably like 2 years into our relationship. And I was very excited, and it was but again, it was like I like didn't really know. I was like, yeah, marriage. Okay. Like, I don't know. Hayden grew up in the South. He's much more traditional than I am. And well, let me rephrase this, more traditional than I grew up with. And not that that's a bad thing. Hayden and I have learned a lot from each other, and that's part of the reason I think that we go so well together. But the idea of marriage was something that I really had to sit and think about. But the more I thought about it and the more I've been with him, I'm like, yes, like, why wouldn't I want that with him? And so we started looking at rings. This is when like things kind of got a little bit more serious. We started looking at rings in March of this year. Okay. So March 2024, we went to the jeweler. We went to a big name jeweler. We went to a jeweler. It's called Shane's. I don't know if you guys have heard of it or if you have one in your area, but we went to a jeweler called Shane's and had a really, really amazing experience. I feel like I could do a whole episode just about ring shopping in general, because I think that there's so much that goes into it. My personal opinion is that whoever your consultant is when you are ring shopping makes or breaks your experience. I have had friends who have gone to places that they have loved and have had the best experience where they end up buying their ring from. And then Hayden and I would go there and not have that same experience and really be like turned off by the whole thing, or vice versa. And I really think it's because of the person that you're with and the consultant that you have. I think that they make or break it for you. So we went to Shane's first and had an amazing experience. And I decided that, we were really just kind of in that initial like try on, I don't know what you would call that, initial ring shopping. I was really just trying to figure out what shape that I wanted. I know that right now, which first of all, I just want to preface this by saying whatever ring you end up with, whatever ring you decide on, whether, you are along the whole way in the process, like with it, trying things on and really narrowing it down with your partner, or whether you are, completely surprised at the end of the day and they pick it for you, whatever you decide on is perfect. And I think part of that is like, it's such a unique thing and it's so individual to you, and everyone's taste is different. Everyone's going to like different things. My ring might not be your taste, vice versa. It's not like it, but at the end of the day, all that matters is that you love it. And so I think that that's important, because I think that, I don't know, I've just learned this over time and over the past year. Like there can be some weird stigma when it comes to rings and when it comes to, making sure that you get what you want. I don't know. That's a conversation for another day. Long story short, we started looking at these rings, and initially I was narrowing down just like what shape I wanted, and I ended up really loving a round diamond. I really love it. I think it's classic. I think it's timeless. And we tried on others. It was really between a round and an elongated cushion. Those were the two that I was going back and forth with, but I did end up just loving the round. Again, I just think it's timeless and classic. And I'm someone who is really indecisive, and I'm someone who will change my mind a lot. And I feel like if I follow a certain trend because it's a trend and not because I like it, I will change my mind in like 6 months and like look at it and be like, no, like we need to change this. And so I knew just something classic and timeless was what I needed to go for. Also, my mom had a round diamond, and there's something about it that I just love. I absolutely love it. So that's what we decided to go with. And then that kind of carried us over throughout the rest of our ring shopping. So we went to Shane's first. Then a few weeks later, we went to a more local jeweler in Nashville. Did not have the best experience. Again, I'm not going to say where it is because I don't want to throw them under the bus like that. But, and also, again, I think it really comes down to the consultant that you have. And I just wasn't crazy about the person that we were working with at the specific place. And so we just, we left there and was like, no. And then we found this jeweler in Nashville in Green Hills, and the name of the jeweler, which is where I ended up getting my ring from, is King's Jewelers in Nashville. They're a small business, and we had the best consultant that I am so grateful for. His name is Derek. Derek is absolutely amazing, and we met Derek probably in June. So we went to King's, and pretty immediately we just like, there was a click, like it just worked. It wasn't like, big brand. It wasn't like corporate-y. It was like very personal, and like us and Derek, we clicked and we became BFFs. And I remember leaving that ring shopping experience at King's, and Hayden looked at me and he's like, that's where I'm getting your ring. Like, I love it there. And not only did we love the experience, but we loved Derek. Like, I love Derek. And so whenever, and again, this is where I say like it comes down to the consultant. I just think they make the world of a difference. And so Hayden and I went back to King's probably twice after that to meet with Derek and really finalize the ring. Now, here's where the plot twist comes in. The ring that I am wearing is not the ring that Hayden and I decided on. So back at the end of July, Hayden and I had our final ring shopping thing. And it was just really to narrow down exactly what I wanted. And the ring that we had ended up deciding on was a round diamond, but the band was plain, just like a plain silver band. That's what I thought I wanted at the time. Now, mind you, up until that point, I had always gone for the pave band, which is what I have. And if you don't know, the pave band is basically a band with like the little diamonds on it. And up until that last appointment, we had been looking at the pave bands. And then at the last appointment in July, we switched it to a plain band. And I thought that that's what I, was wanting. And so we leave the appointment. Derek has everything written down. Hayden, really, all he has to do is show up with a credit card. So everything is like set in motion. And at that point, I'm really just waiting on Hayden. Okay. And again, this was at the end of July. Didn't really know when it was going to happen. Didn't know if it was going to be sooner or later. But Hayden and I were very open and vocal about when it could possibly be. I remember talking in July, we were thinking like, okay, him and I both said, he's like, it's not going to be October. It might be, somewhere between November, December. And then if not, then maybe like April or May. Now, here's something that you need to know about me, which if you're listening to this podcast, you probably already know. And if you've watched me for a while, you definitely know this. I'm a little crazy. Okay. A little psycho. This is what I told Hayden, and when I told any of my friends this, whoever I told, they were like, Savannah, why would you say this? Why? Question mark. I don't know, but I told Hayden. So in my mind, I have certain months that I enjoy. I have certain months that I like, and I have certain months that I don't love as much. Okay. Nothing against the months personally. If your birthday's in there, great. I'm happy for you. There's certain months that I like. There's certain months that I don't like. Same with numbers. There are certain numbers like dates that I like and certain dates that I don't. Some scratch my brain right, some scratch them not so great. So I told Hayden, I was like, listen, here are the months that I am okay with. I'm okay with November. I'm okay with December. Love those months. Those are great. I don't want January because not only is it my birthday, it's Hayden's birthday and it's my brother's birthday. It's also a couple of my friends' birthdays. So don't really want January. February, it's Valentine's Day. It's kind of cliche. Again, it's just not really my thing. I also just don't love the month of February. Sorry. Sue me. And I also don't really want March. So those were like my three no's. And then April and May, I was like, I like April and May. So you could pick then. But then I don't really like June or July. So you have to pick in between those months. And then I had specific days, whatever. So he was like, that's insane, but okay. So we have that conversation. And honestly, you guys, things went radio silent after that. We did not talk about it. We did not, nothing was said. There was no conversation. We just kind of continued on with our lives. And I had no idea when it was happening or what the plan was, obviously. But here's the thing. You know anything about me, I'm a control freak, and I don't do well with handing over control to another person. So for me, having to be like, okay, you go plan the proposal, that was hard for me. To be like, okay, you go get the ring, do the whole thing, and I'll just be here when you're ready. That was hard. That was a hard thing for me to do because I'm such a control freak and I like to know things before they happen. And so having to just kind of release that was a little bit more difficult than I would like to admit. I'm very stubborn when it comes to that, and it's something I need to work on. But anyways, so I had known that my family was going on a Thanksgiving trip. This is where it's all coming together. Okay. I had known that my family was going on a Thanksgiving trip for probably a few months. I think we've decided that we were doing this back in July or August. And very excited. We were going, and we did go to Antigua, and we went to a small little island off of Antigua called Barbuda. And Barbuda is beautiful, by the way. It was stunning, once in a lifetime vacation, absolutely amazing. We had the best time. Engagement aside, it was truly the most stunning place ever. And I remember thinking, prior to this vacation, I was like, this would be the place, right? If he's going to do it, he would probably do it here, right? He would probably do it over Thanksgiving. And I wasn't the only one who thought that, okay? Everyone and their mother, I feel like for the 2 weeks leading up to this vacation. I felt like I could not escape people asking me when I was getting engaged, when Hayden was proposing, what our plans were, what kind of wedding I wanted, what all of the wedding related and engagement related questions were being asked, to the point where I was like, is everyone in on something and I am just not? Like, is everyone like are these like subtle hints that people are trying to drop along the way? And I was telling my friends, I'm like, people are saying really weird things. My mom kept talking about, oh, like, for Christmas, I'm debating on what to get you. Like, there's certain like glassware and kitchenware and stuff, but you can probably put that on a wedding registry. And I'm like, wedding registry. Okay. Like, I'm really like over analyzing everything at this point, because I feel like everyone is talking about this, and it's making me think that they all know something that I don't. And again, this was in the weeks leading up to Thanksgiving. And so, like, for example, Hayden's sister got married in the beginning of November, beginning middle. She got married like November 10th, I believe. And leading up to her wedding and on her wedding, so many people were asking me, like, when are you and Hayden getting engaged? When is he going to propose? First of all, as if I know that and I'm in charge of that. That's the issue within this whole thing. But I would just tell him, I'm like, I don't know. I'm just kind of waiting on him. Like, we went ring shopping, we did the whole thing. It's up to him at this point. So we talked all about that. And so there was so much talk, so much wedding talk leading up to this vacation, that I was like, this would be absolutely crazy if he did not. I'm talking to my friends, I'm talking to everyone, like, of course he would do it. So that's the mindset that I am in. But it's because there is so much chatter around it, it honestly is making me spiral just a tad. I started spiraling, and I was like, maybe I should ask. Like, should I ask? Like, should I ask, like, if I should get my nails done? Like, should I ask, like, I don't know. Because I will say this, within the proposal talk that Hayden and I had, when talking about what we wanted, or what I wanted in an engagement and in a proposal, I told Hayden that I'm very simple. I really, I don't need a whole extravagant thing. But one thing that's really important to me is I wanted my family there. It's just something that I've always wanted. I wanted my family to be, nearby. I wanted to celebrate with my family afterwards. And so that added along, like that fact, when think like added in, sorry, I don't know why I can talk. That fact, sorry, continued or contributed into me thinking that this would be happening on this vacation, because we're going on this vacation with my family. I don't know if I said that in this episode. I know I said it last week, but the vacation was with me, my parents, and Jackson and Hayden. So there was going to be the five of us. And so I was like, of course he would do it here, because, we're going on this vacation. We're with my family. It's tropical. It's perfect. It's November. I love November. All these things, all of the pieces were adding up. And so I started asking Hayden little questions here and there, and he was giving me absolutely nothing. I asked him what color I should get my nails. I kind of like was even joking, and I was like, should I do green or orange? Like, this man has never seen green or orange on my nails one time in the 3 years that we have been dating. But he'd be like, oh, orange. It probably would go well with your spray tan. And I would be like, what? Okay, but would it go well with a ring? Like, what do you mean? And so I started like saying these things, and he was giving me nothing. And so it made me go crazier. It really did. And so really where things changed and where the shift happened was a week prior to us leaving to go to Barbuda. I got a DM. This is where things get real. I got a DM from a casting agent from the TV show, The Ultimatum. Now, if you know, you know. But if you don't know, The Ultimatum is a TV show on Netflix where the premise of this show is for couples who have been dating for a substantially long period of time, who have not gotten engaged. They go on this show. They basically test their relationship by getting paired with other people. They do this for a several week period. And at the end of the several weeks, they decide if they are going to get engaged or if they are going to break up. So I got this DM. And when I got this DM, I was like, this is a joke. Like, I'm being punked. Like, this isn't for real. Like, this is crazy because with all of the talk about like wedding stuff and engagements and proposals, I'm going to get a DM to go on the freaking ultimatum. Are you kidding me? So there was just a lot of feelings going on. And I remember I was thinking about it and I was like, you know what? I'm going to use this as my in. I am going to use this as the conversation starter. And so I went to Hayden, and again, this was like a week before we left. I went to Hayden and I was like, so I got a cutesy little DM from this casting agent for the ultimatum. I explained to him what the show was, and he was like, why would we go on that? And I was like, I don't know. Do we need to go on that? And he was like, no. And honestly, kind of offended that I would even ask that. He was like, I have plans. And I was like, okay, like, I don't know. Like, do you really? Like, what are your plans? And I'm like drilling him. And of course, he's like, not gonna tell me, because why would he tell me? But here I am being like, what are your plans? Tell me your plans. Da 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 da. Blah blah blah. I'm running his, like, I'm just talking my ear off to him. And this is where we kind of, and I'm just again very transparent. I basically told him, I was like, listen, I am really, I don't know what your plans are, but we haven't talked about, the proposal or the engagement since July. I'm like, it's now November, it's radio silence. Like, what is it that we're thinking? And I think that part of it is like Hayden and I always have very open communication. We always like talk things through. So for us to not talk about this and this being such a big thing, it was hard for me. And so I brought it up to him and we had this long conversation and I just laid it all out there. I said, listen, I thought you were going to propose next week. I thought we were going to go on this trip and you were going to propose, because why wouldn't you? I was like going on and on and on. And he was like, listen, I'm just really sorry. I'm sorry you thought that. Like, I'm sorry I let you down. Like the whole thing, whole 9 yards. And I was like, okay, like, I guess that's just what we're doing. And, it did cause a little bit of a tiff. I'm not going to lie. It definitely caused like a little bit of tension for the night, but then we got over it. And again, it was like nothing crazy, but I definitely was like a little disappointed. I was like, I really thought that this would be the time. If there was a time to do it, I thought this would be it. So definitely went to bed a little bit disappointed. And he was very apologetic. And he was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm sorry I let you down. Like all of these things. And I'm just like, it's okay. It's fine. It's whatever. We keep it moving. Then we end up leaving. Okay. So we left for Barbuda on Monday, the 25th, and we traveled from Nashville to Miami, and we stayed the night in Miami. So we traveled it was Hayden and I and my parents, and then Jackson, who lives in New York, my brother, he met us in Miami. So we all went to Miami for the night. Mind you, that conversation happened, I believe, on like a Wednesday or a Thursday. So yeah, I believe it was Wednesday. So like pretty much the week before the engagement on the dot. So we go to Miami, we have dinner with my parents, and the entire time as we were traveling, my dad had a carry-on. He had this like little green golf bag that he kept carrying. And my dad has traveled a lot in his years, okay? And I've traveled a lot with him. He's not a carry-on type of person. Like he'll take his suitcase as his carry-on, but he was checking his suitcase. He's never wanted to have like an additional bag. And if he does, it's like his briefcase, like his work bag. But this was different. He was carrying around like a green like carry-on bag. And I didn't think anything of it at the time because like why would I? But looking back, what I know now that I didn't know then was that the ring was being held in my dad's carry-on bag. And that's why he was holding it, because Hayden's fear was that he was going to go through TSA and that his bag was going to get checked and they were going to take the ring out of the bag. And he was afraid that, TSA or customs was going to take the ring and it would, ruin the surprise of the whole thing. So that was Hayden's fear all along. So that's why my dad was carrying the ring in this bag. But again, I just didn't put two and two together. So we travel, we go to Miami, and then the following day on Tuesday, we fly to Antigua, and then from from Antigua, we take a helicopter to Barbuda. So that is when we get to Barbuda. We're staying in this beautiful house, stunning, amazing house on the beach, the clearest water I've ever seen, the nicest sand, so like lush and squishy and nice and Tempur-Pedic and beautiful. I loved it. So Barbuda is looking fantastic. It's looking amazing, but I was not thinking that this was going to be where I was getting engaged or anything like that. I was just like, I'm just so grateful to be on a vacation with my family and with Hayden. Like that truthfully was all I was thinking about at the time. So that's all that I had going on in my head. So Tuesday we have like pretty much we get there later at night. So I think we finally get there at like 5 o'clock. So we just go to dinner, whatever. Then we roll into Wednesday. I got engaged on Wednesday. I got engaged on November 27th of 2024. And by the way, I love that date. I think it's so cute. November 27th. It just kind of like rhymes a little bit. We go into Wednesday. Truthfully, you guys, Wednesday was the best day of my life. It was just the best, perfect day. We woke up, spent so much time on the beach, relaxing in the water at the beach, just having the best time with my family. Like we were all in the water, all just having, little day drinks and rosés and beer and just like enjoying this like carefree, stress-free environment. And it was so nice. So we did that. And then after that, it was probably like, what day was it? Or what time was it? We probably got out of the water at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So we get out of the water at like 3, and then we go inside and we're getting ready for dinner. And this is when Hayden tells me, hey, let's go on a little beach walk, like before dinner starts. And a lot of people, everyone that I've talked to has been like, what do you mean you didn't know at that point? But seriously, you guys, I did not know. If there's one thing that Hayden did, it has convinced me so well that this was not happening. He made me believe so incredibly much that this was just like not going to be a thing. So I was like, okay, okay, like we can go for a walk, like that's fine. And if you know me, I am not like a let's go walk on the beach type of girl. I very much am like, let's pull up a little chair and sit in the sand and watch the sunset with my wine type of girl. But Hayden was like, let's go for a walk. And so I was like, okay, guess we are going for a walk. So after dinner, which first of all, sorry, not after dinner, before dinner, we ended up, I did. I was getting ready and I had this little white dress that I've never worn before. I've had it for about a year and a half, and I don't know why. I've just kept it in my closet. It's survived every closet clean out. It's survived all of it. And, while that was happening, I was like, okay, I guess I packed it in my bag. I don't know why, because I've never worn it before, but I did pack it. And Hayden was going through my suitcase and he was like, you should wear this tonight. Like, it's really pretty. Like, you should wear this. And so he hung it up in the bathroom, still not thinking anything of it because Hayden has never once done that. But I'm getting ready. And mind you, I'm like kind of tipsy. I'm not going to lie. We were drinking rosé during the day and I was just like kind of feeling it with the effects of the sun. I hadn't really eaten a lot. So I'm feeling a little bit tipsy. I'm feeling good. And then I ended up, I'm getting ready. I've got my dress on, and Hayden had told me beforehand that he had written thank you cards for my family for bringing him on this vacation. So he told me that these were just simply thank you cards. And Hayden is that considerate. He is the type of person that goes out of his way to do things like that. That's part of the reason I love him so much. So he is so considerate, and he was like, this is what I want to do. Like, I'm have these thank you cards. I'm going to go give them to your parents. So I'm finishing getting ready and he goes and gives these thank you cards, quote unquote, to my parents. And then him and I start walking out to the beach, and we're walking and we pass my dad and my brother who were like fake playing a game of checkers or chess or something. Jackson doesn't play chess. I should have known in that moment. But they were playing this little game on this board and we walked past them, and I remember my dad was like, you look really nice. And I was like, oh, thanks. And we started walking out onto the beach, and we're walking. And we get to probably like, I don't know, maybe like 3 minutes into this walk. Mind you, I brought my Canon G7X, my camera, because I was taking pictures of Hayden and I, because I was like, oh, we should take some cute pictures on the beach, whatever. And so we're taking pictures back and forth, and we walk for probably like 3-4 minutes. And I'm like, okay, You want to turn back around? If you know me, you know I don't like long walks. I just don't. And this sand, as beautiful as it was hard to walk on because it was so soft. So I was kind of like, okay, like, do you want to can we turn around? And there was a little hut at the end of the beach. And he was like, well, no, like, let's just keep walking towards this little hut. He's like, I want to go see what that is. And I was like, oh, like, okay, let's go, I guess. Like, we keep walking and this is kind of it all is a blur, you guys, honestly. But as we're walking, I remember I was walking in front of him at one point and I hear him say behind me, by the way, I lied to you. He said, by the way, I lied to you. And I was kind of like, great, here we go. I'm like, what did he lie to me about? And so I was like, really? Like, about what? But like, I'm still kind of walking in front of him. So I'm not really like paying too much attention. So I'm like, about what? And he spins me around and he said, I'm a little bit better at planning than I let on. And then he got on a knee and he pulled out the ring. And I quite literally think the first words out of my mouth were, what the fuck? I was jaw to the floor, as you can see in the pictures. If you haven't checked out my Instagram, make sure you go do it. I was in such shock and such utter disbelief. I could not fathom it. And I was just like, oh my God. I kept repeating, oh my God, what the fuck? Are you kidding? Are you serious? He put the ring on my finger and I saw that there was a photographer in the trees. And that's when it made it like really real. I don't know. There's a part of me that thought he was kidding. Like, because he had convinced me so well that this wasn't happening, that when he was on a knee, I was like, okay, this is like a little plastic ring. Like, this is kind of mean. Like, why would you do that? But I was like, are you serious? Like, are you for real? Like, I could not believe it. I felt like I was hallucinating. I felt like I blacked out in that moment. Like, when I went back and I looked at the photos, I was like, I don't remember this. Like, I don't remember it because it was just such a dream to be in that moment. And anyways, he puts the ring on my finger and I was just in utter shock. And mind you, like I said, Hayden and I picked out a plain band like at our final ring shopping, consult. But he chose a pave one, like the one with the diamonds. And I'm so glad he did because I thought, like, when we were having that conversation, the kind of one where I was like, well, TikTok, like, when is it going to be? And he's like, it's not going to be on this trip. He even said, you guys, he's like, it'll probably be summer. And your girl was not thrilled about that. But I remember thinking like, okay, well, if it's going to be summer, I might as well, maybe we should go back and go ring shopping because I need to, maybe we should look at the band and, maybe I would like the diamond one. And so we went back first of all, we didn't go back, but I'm so happy he picked the diamond band because this is exactly what I wanted. It's actually the first ring, like pretty much copy paste the first ring that we tried on at Shane's. It's like the exact ring that I fell in love with at Shane's, but he just recreated it at King's with Derek, and we love Derek. So obviously. So after he proposes, there's a little bottle of champagne, or not a little bottle, it was a full bottle of champagne at that hut that he was talking about. So we walk over to the hut, he pops the champagne. I'm like in utter shock. There's like close-up photos of us. I do not remember those being taken at all. And I just kept repeating, I'm like, where is my family? Where is my family? Where is my family? We finally walk back towards like the house where we were staying, and like the restaurant of like the resort that we were staying at was like 2 doors down from our house. So we meet my family at the restaurant. Everyone's in tears. Everyone's hugging. Everyone is just like so overjoyed and over the moon. We're so happy and could not feel any better about where we were at. Like, could not be like on cloud 9 anymore. Like, if there was a cloud 10, we were on that. Like, we were so happy. And we were calling everyone, calling our family, calling Hayden's family, calling my friends. Everyone's getting a FaceTime. Everyone's, I'm, just so elated. It truthfully was the best day of my life. And it meant so much to me that Hayden, first of all, pulled that off. I kept telling everyone, like, after that conversation, I was like, no, there's no way it's happening. I'm like, trust me, like, he told me it's not happening. Like, I know it's not happening. Like, there's just no way, da 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 da. And I was like, and if he pulls this off, this is going to be like literally the biggest surprise ever. And guess what? He pulled it off and it was the biggest surprise ever. So that happened. And then, so we have this dinner We have this like celebratory dinner. It was my parents, Jackson, me, and Hayden. We have dinner. It's such a great time. And what I learned at that dinner was that the thank you cards that Hayden had written my parents, he also wrote one to Jackson, and they weren't thank you cards. They were essentially like pre-proposal cards and promises that he was making to my family. Just in regards to me, and, just it was a very sweet. I haven't read the cards. I don't want to read the cards, but just kind of letters to my parents and letters to Jackson of words that he wanted to say to them beforehand. And I think that that is just reason number a million that I love him so much, is the fact that he thinks of doing things like that. The fact that like he went the extra mile to do that for me, and it just made me the happiest. And so we had the best night. We had so much fun. After dinner, we went back to the house. We continued the party. We're drinking, we're dancing. Granted, world's worst hangover the next day, but I would do it all again. I would do it over tenfold. It was the best day. So then after that, the next day rolls around. It's Thanksgiving. We have an amazing Thanksgiving. And then we ended up coming home on Saturday. And when we came home on Saturday, we had a great, great time, and had just an amazing, amazing conclusion of the vacation. And then once we got home, Hayden and I were so excited to get home because we wanted it to like sink in real life too. And now that we're home, and now that like, we went and got our first Christmas tree as like an engaged couple, like there's so many firsts and there's so many new things that are happening, and everything now just kind of has like a new sentiment to it because we are engaged. So there's so many, there's so much newness that comes with it, and it's so incredible and so amazing. And so I'm so happy, and I'm in just such a place of joy and bliss. And I know there's there's so many questions from my family right now about like, okay, weddings, when is it happening? What are we doing? And I'm like, I just need a minute. Like, I just need a minute to take it all in, because like, just as, part of the reason, like when Hayden and I first got together, I told him I wanted to wait to get engaged because like I wanted to enjoy like dating, and I wanted to enjoy being his girlfriend, because once I'm his fiance, then, I'm not going to be his girlfriend again. Right. So now I'm like in this phase where I just want to be his fiance, and I want to enjoy being engaged. I want to enjoy this time period. It's November. It's beautiful. Or actually it's December now. But it's like the holidays. It's the best time, it's so incredible. It's so amazing. And I'm just so, so happy and thrilled. And I just also wanted to kind of say in this, after saying what my story was and kind of how everything happened for me, I wanted to say, for the people that are out there, if there's any girl out there listening, or anyone period out there listening, who's like waiting for their turn, to be engaged, waiting for their turn to be proposed to, and you're like, when is it going to happen for me? If there is anyone who knows that feeling, I promise you it's me. And I know how frustrating it is, because this is one of those things where it's like, yeah, like I guess you could do it, like you could propose, but like, we want that. Like we want to be courted. We want to be proposed to. For most people, I don't know, maybe not most people, a lot of people. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I don't know, but you get what I'm saying. And I know that when you're in that season of waiting, it could feel like your patience is being really, really tested. And you can feel like first of all, no one understands when, mostly everyone who's been proposed to, most of us, or a lot of people, have been in that like kind of waiting period and feeling impatient. But we have this tendency to think like, no, they don't get it because they're engaged, so now they don't understand. But no, I promise you, I totally understand. I totally get it. And I want to just emphasize the fact that it will happen. It will happen when it's supposed to happen. And when that does happen, it will be such an exciting and incredible moment, and allow yourself to feel all of the excitement that comes with that. I think a lot of times, I know me personally, I have a tendency to self-sabotage. I think it's because I don't fully believe that I'm deserving of good things in life. And I don't know, maybe, and that's something I can just unpack later, but I had a couple moments initially right after where I started not to question myself, but I was like, this is too good. Like, what did I do to deserve this? Like, and I think that when, if you do have those feelings, I just want to emphasize the fact that you do deserve it. And you do deserve all of the good things that life has to offer, and you do deserve a healthy relationship, and you do deserve, all of those things. So I really just wanted to emphasize that because I know that I've been having those thoughts too. And, you are, you know, you're worthy of all of that. And I just wanted to kind of put that out there too. But going back to, if you are in this season of waiting, and if you are in the season of, wanting this to happen, and you feel like you've been waiting and you're like, when is it going to be my turn? I promise you it will be. And it's one of those things where it sucks because like no one can really give you an answer. There's only one person in the world that can give you an answer. And that's why I kind of finally looked to Hayden and I was like, what are we doing? And if there's one piece of advice I would go back and give myself, it is, you know, sit in the stillness. It's uncomfortable. It's annoying, but be confident in the fact that this is going to happen. If you've communicated with each other, if you know that this is something that you both want, if this is something that you both are ready for, then just take that and keep it moving. And, you can touch base every couple weeks, couple months and see, where things are in the process, but don't rush it and don't feel like you need to compare yourself to everyone else who is having this moment. I think that was something that was really hard for me is everyone around me was getting engaged. I check Instagram, someone's getting engaged, married, or a kid. And I started to feel like I was behind in life because that wasn't happening for me. Don't feel like that because now that I am engaged, I'm like, that was such a silly thing to feel. That's such a silly pressure that we put on ourselves. Don't stress yourself out worrying about that. Just focus on the present, focus on what you want for your future, communicate that with your partner, communicate that with your person, and go from there. But don't stress out over the fact of, when is this going to happen and why isn't it happening for me? It's happening for everyone else. Just don't compare yourself to that. You're on your own journey and you're on your own, path, and it will happen when it's supposed to happen. And when it does, it's going to make all the sense in the world because I promise you now I'm sitting here, I'm like, it's happened to me now. And I'm like, there was no point in constantly stressing and oh my God, and what is happening? And is this right? Am I on the right path? Like there was so much doubt in my mind, just in my own self, not with my relationship or with Hayden, but just like what's going on? Like I felt like the world was spinning for everyone else and I was just kind of stuck, but that's not a healthy mindset to be in. So just remind yourself that it will happen for you and to enjoy the process of getting there. So that's what I will leave you with. But that's really my engagement story, you guys. I got engaged on November 27th of 2024. I got engaged in Barbuda and it was the best day of my life. And I'm so excited to bring you guys on the journey of just continuing on all the wedding stuff and all the engagement stuff. We are unlocking a whole new era and a whole new chapter. And I cannot be more excited to bring you guys all along with me. I love you guys so much. But with that being said, that is all for me today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of My Thoughts Exactly. Again, if you're new here, hi, my name's Savannah. I'm your host of My Thoughts Exactly. Make sure you go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Again, we post weekly here on the podcast every single Friday. And so make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss it. I'll be back next week with a brand new one for you guys, and I will see you then. Bye, guys.